Imagine a learning machine so powerful that it can absorb everything it experiences, file it into memory, and use this endless stream of data to adapt and learn when faced with any type of situation. A machine that learns through repetition, composed of powerful synapses and transmitters, all in communication with one another to create consciousness. If created by man, a supercomputer such as this would be worth billions. Instead, we all already have one of these machines. You are using it to watch this video right now. If you haven't figured it out yet, we are talking about the human brain. Hundreds of thousands of years of evolution have brought us to the level of consciousness we now experience. We come well equipped with all the necessities for survival on Earth, the human distinction being our ability to use our minds to reason. Rather than act solely on instinct, our brains allow us to analyze situations and make decisions. We choose what to say and how we want to say it, what to eat and drink, where we want to live, and how we want to earn a living. We are the only species on Earth with such consciousness, sentience, and perception. We are, by all accounts, a miracle of evolution. But of all the decisions we have the privilege to make, perhaps the most important is how we choose to spend our time. And more with each passing day, we choose wrong. We choose to scroll mindlessly on the magic screens in our pockets, and thus relinquish our own freedom. The human brain is powerful, but it is not invulnerable. Before we can discuss the epidemic we currently face, we must first understand the dopamine reward system. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter and key player in the mind's ability to learn through repetition. When we do something enjoyable, such as eating or exercising, the stimulus triggers a release in dopamine and we feel pleasure. This prompts us to repeat the behavior that brought us to this favorable reaction, creating a positive feedback loop, teaching the brain to connect these actions with rewards. It is why it is so hard to put down a bag of candy, or why, once someone experiences a runner's high, they make a habit of running. Dopamine motivates us to pursue the pleasure available to us. In the times of early humans, this meant reinforcing survival behaviors. Hunting, gathering food, and the act of procreation were primary dopamine producers, as pleasure was centered around the facilitation of survival and reproduction. An important contributor to our survival lied in our social nature, which meant that social behaviors such as cooperation, emotional connection, and social learning all would lead to mental reward as well. Observing the notion that dopamine release originated through such basic stimuli, we can begin to see how things could quickly go wrong once the stimuli became more complex. And it is safe to say that they have. Natural food has evolved into processed, ready-made slop, engineered to taste better. Sex has been diluted with pornography, a shortcut to the feeling without having to perform the act. Theater, film, and television have developed out of our desire to learn and communicate socially through storytelling, making us feel as though we are part of an exciting journey without having to leave the couch. We process these stimuli through the same minds that early humans did. Our hardwiring for survival has not changed. That is why, when humanity created the extraordinarily strong stimulus of social media, which combines a wide variety of dopamine-inducing motivators, it was no wonder we'd all become addicted. But in order to properly understand how we all got hooked, we must first take a look at what each platform brought to the table. The first social media network was known as 6 Degrees, launched in 1997 by Andrew Weinreich. The name was a play on the commonly held notion that all people are connected by 6 degrees of separation or less. Users could list friends, family members, and acquaintances on their profile, as well as post bulletin items on their feed and send direct messages to connections. 6 Degrees was shut down in 2001 due to lack of revenue and the .com crash, but the site had amassed over 3.5 million users, and the blueprint had been set. In 2002, sites like Friendster, LinkedIn, and MySpace quickly jumped on 6 Degrees' coattails, each in their own respective niche. For example, LinkedIn was career-focused, MySpace became a music-sharing hub, but the formula of profile, connections, and posts to a public feed stayed consistent throughout each iteration. Users were drawn in by the idea of a virtual social network to complement their real-life one. Then, in 2004, Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook. The cleanest, most polished site yet, Facebook evolved the landscape of social media as a whole and quickly rose to the top of the budding industry. Key innovations such as the news feed in 2006 and the like button in 2009 further cemented Facebook's place as king, ushering in the modern era of social media as we know it. YouTube and Twitter followed in 2005 and 2006 respectively. YouTube established itself as the primary site for sharing videos, Twitter for sharing thoughts and ideas. YouTube videos averaged about 4 minutes in length by 2010, meaning that most content was designed to hold our attention, if only for a few minutes. The next few years saw the rise of many of the giants that dominate the industry today. Instagram, a 2010 photo sharing site, amassed approximately 50 million users by the end of 2012 and was promptly purchased by Facebook for $1 billion, leading to the creation of the technology conglomerate Meta Platforms. Snapchat carved its own path in 2011 as a photo messaging application that provided a fun alternative to texting, allowing users to share disappearing photos back and forth to one another. 2013 introduced short-lived video sharing application Vine. An app truly ahead of its time, Vine allowed users to share 6-second looping videos through an interface quite similar to that of Instagram's. Naturally, Instagram introduced video sharing that same year, eliminating Vine's competitive advantage and contributing to its 2017 shutdown. But Vine marked the beginning of what would become social media's most pivotal evolution. Up until 2013, social media had placed its major emphasis on the social. Users were drawn to sites to connect with others. Our primary social functions as humans, collaboration, emotional connection, and social learning, all could be achieved through a few clicks on a screen. We sought out others and they sought out us, and the process was unbelievably exciting. A friend request from a stranger, a message from a potential mate, a photo of an old friend from high school. Social media brought people together as it was originally intended to do. Short-form content changed that. As we mentioned, Vine's 6-second looping video formula became the catalyst for a movement far greater. Just 8 months after Vine shut down in 2017, China-based TikTok rose from the ashes. Videos were bumped from 6 to 15 seconds, additional editing software was introduced, and external sounds and music could be added as overlay. Featuring content spanning from dancing to comedy, film clips to erotic content, anything that could be conceived was packed into a bite-sized video. No time commitment was necessary, no thought was involved, just a brief moment of pure entertainment. Pure social media. TikTok's version of the public feed became known as the For You page, where each short video waited endlessly, one after the next, to be consumed. All you had to do was scroll and scroll and scroll. The formula proved to be successful, and by 2020, TikTok had surpassed over 1 billion users worldwide. Naturally, the industry's giants would scramble to eliminate TikTok's short-form monopoly. Instagram introduced Reels in 2020, YouTube followed with Shorts, Snapchat with Spotlight, and Facebook with Reels in 2021. The additions coincided with the peak of COVID-19 and the mandatory quarantine period that kept individuals in their homes with plenty of time to scroll. Engagement with the new features exploded. Social media had evolved right under our noses, and before we knew it, we were hooked. Short-form content owes its success to the fundamental hijacking of our dopamine reward system. The process goes as follows. We open our phones to an exciting video filled with music, dancing, and attractive people. The mix of potent stimuli entertain us, triggering a burst of dopamine. The dopamine encourages repetition of the behavior it was triggered from, in this instance whispering silently to us, "Next video." Due to the conveniently designed For You page, another video waits at the ready. The brain recognizes the pattern of novel, unpredictable stimuli, and the anticipation of reward becomes just as fulfilling as the reward itself. And so we scroll, like mice chasing a block of cheese, not realizing we are stuck on a treadmill. Now, in all cases, the universal law of diminishing returns holds true. The more we consume of something, the less exciting it becomes. The novelty of scrolling, in theory, should have worn off by now. But we don't seem to have grown tired of short-form content. In fact, it has become more prevalent than ever. Media companies could never solve the impossible dilemma of diminishing returns, but in their pursuit of our attention, they created the next best solution. Every like, every comment, every view, every share, and every single second we spend on a particular video are recorded and stored as working data for the behavior recognition system that has come simply to be known as the algorithm. Perhaps the most fascinating psychological shadowing tool ever created, the algorithm uses this working data to gain a sense of which types of content we are most likely to be interested in. For example, if a user likes a video about fitness, they are likely to stumble upon a similar video as they keep scrolling. If they continue to engage, more videos will follow, and eventually their feed will become a hub for fitness content. Inversely, if the user's engagement with fitness videos declines, but they begin engaging with, say, political content, their feed will shift to reflect the change in their behavior. In this way, the For You page is aptly named. Videos are curated for you, for whatever mood you're in, or whatever topic currently piques your interest. All you must do is consume. How could media companies ever lose our attention when our likes and dislikes are being continuously recorded to spoon-feed us content? The algorithm takes on a dystopian nature when observing the power it can have on an individual's psyche. While fitness content can be deemed as friendly subject matter, what of the extremist political content? What of the pornographic content? What of the outright propaganda that is spread online? The positive feedback loop employed by the algorithm uses engagement with each video to justify the next. In the case of an individual struggling with addiction to pornography, or someone on the fringe of supporting extremist beliefs, video after video on the topic throws gasoline onto the fire. The algorithm sways us in whichever direction we naturally lean, and baits us with content that keeps us coming back for more. Mass consumption to this degree can be extremely harmful if left unchecked, especially when we observe the great radicalization that is taking place in modern society, with individuals becoming more fervent in their opinions than ever. It would be reasonable to conclude that the echo chamber of videos on our social media feeds, all reinforcing the same belief, might be a significant contributor. Just look at the 2024 election. Families stopped speaking because of the division it caused. How couldn't we become polarized when we open our phones and are immediately baited into rage by content that fuels anger toward the perceived opposition? More and more with each passing day, we are pitted against each other as Americans, now bolstered by an algorithm that sorts us into our respective teams. In addition to altering what we think, short-form content changes how we think. In the long term, our brains become accustomed to the instant gratification these short videos provide. Such a constantly available source of quick and easy dopamine becomes our preferred stimulus, causing the excitement in other activities to slip away. A 5-minute YouTube video becomes a challenging commitment of our attention, reading a book chapter an impossibility. We destroy our ability to focus properly on a task, waiting for an exciting dopamine hit that is not coming. Not until we pick up our phone again, and again. We see it to a frightening degree in our youth. Babies are growing up to become what's known as iPad kids, unable to focus on anything unless a screen is placed in front of them. A child whose dopamine receptors are not given the chance to properly develop loses the battle before it even begins. And according to a recent study, high school students who frequently use social media over the last 6 years were at a 53% higher risk of experiencing symptoms of ADHD. We are poisoning our minds, and those of the generations that follow. The bottom line is this: by engaging with short-form content and the algorithms it employs, we are relinquishing control of our powerful minds. We are exposing ourselves to content that is designed to keep our attention for as long as possible until we form an addiction. We are willingly being manipulated into beliefs that we never would have organically reached, and our existing beliefs are being bolstered to an unhealthy degree. Our dopamine reward systems are being exploited by cheap, lazy content that vaguely mimics our social survival instincts through a screen. We are sacrificing our ability to focus and enjoy real-life moments. And most importantly, we are wasting our precious time on Earth buried in our phones. We were not designed for this. We are being set up